developments. The White House has confirmed that the Trump-Putin meeting will be one-on-one in Alaska and has hinted that there may be plans for Trump to travel to Russia in the future. White House spokesperson Karoline Leavitt said the summit is meant for the president to have a better understanding on how to end the conflict. Let's listen in to her statements.
On Friday morning, President Trump will travel across the country to Anchorage, Alaska, for a bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. I think this conversation on Friday is focused on ending the war in Ukraine as far as the president's perspective goes. Those conversations, I think the president is interested in having, but his main priority right now is ending this war and to stop the killing that has gone on for far too long.
Ahead of the meeting, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov with the State Department, saying both sides confirmed their intention to hold successful talks in Alaska. Trump will also participate in talks with Ukraine virtually on Wednesday, joining President Volodymyr Zelensky, European leaders and NATO officials just 2 days before he sits down with Putin. We are once again joined by Andrew Latham. Andrew, this summit on Friday certainly is going to be grand. There's going to be a huge media presence. We're sure that the two most powerful men in the world are going to make this a spectacle. However, what message does this one-on-one meeting send to both allies and adversaries alike?
Well, I think, first of all, it's important to note that peace in Ukraine is only a secondary agenda item here. The most important agenda item for both the U.S. and Russia is to repair their relationships. The United States wants a better relationship. President Trump certainly wants a better relationship with Russia, partly in the hope of driving a wedge between Russia and China in this kind of multipolar world of great power competition, a reverse Kissinger in 1972, if you like. And the Russians simply want better relations because they want out from under American sanctions pretty desperately. And so I think the main focus of the conversation in Alaska and beforehand will be on improving Russian-American relations. Now, one of the elements of improving that relationship from the American perspective is bringing some kind of peace to Ukraine. But here, this is interesting, is that these two leaders, these two great powers, are negotiating over the head of Zelensky and his government and the Ukrainian people in a way that has got President Zelensky's backup, understandably, but also has mobilized many of Ukraine's friends and partners in Western Europe. Who are making the argument that no deal can be done unless President Zelensky is at the table. So we've got some cross-cutting incentives here and some cross-cutting dynamics. I'm not sure how this summit is going to end. I rather suspect not favorably for anybody.
Yes, and Andrew, the White House has said that its aim is to better understand how to end the conflict. Is that a sign of openness or a lack of clear U.S. strategy going into negotiations?
I think the U.S. going into negotiation will settle for just about anything that will bring the bloodshed to an end. And if that means supporting, in a limited way, but supporting President Putin's demands for territory in Donbass, then I think the United States will. And certainly, I mean, if you look at the Russian constitution, Donbass is claimed as an integral part of the Russian Federation. If you look at the Ukrainian constitution, it's claimed as a fundamental part of Ukraine. And those two claims are irreconcilable. So it's not clear to me at this point how President Trump is going to square the circle. But if anybody can do it, at least at the level of optics and spectacle, as you put it, I think it's probably President Trump.
Andrew Latham, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme. Pleasure to get your insight. We now move on and over to the Middle East, where the United